We can know the truth, but what is the relevance of knowing the truth? Is there any relevance to knowing the truth? Now, back when I was studying for my surgical boards, there was an instructor that his specialty in the field of surgery that I'm in is to realign jaws. So we do a surgery called orthognathic surgery, where if your jaw is too far forward or too far in, or the upper jaw is too far forward or too far in, or it's moved to the side, we can open up the mouth, cut the upper and lower jaws into smaller pieces and move them in 3 dimensions to where we want it to be. So we can move the whole jaw forward or back or sideways or whatever way. So that field in my surgical department is called orthognathic surgery. So this professor who taught us, or who was training us for our board exam for orthognathic surgery, told us that there are 3 kinds of things to know for this exam. He said the first category is need to know. You absolutely need to know certain things about this kind of surgery so that you can pass this exam. Okay? First is a need to know. Second is nice to know. There are some things that it's not essential to know, it's not need to know, but it's nice if you know it. If you know it, you can pass this exam. And the third category, he said, it's nuts to know. You don't need to know about it. It's not necessary for you to know about it for the exam. So it's need to know, nice to know, nuts to know. So I've based the next couple things loosely on this category. What are the outcomes of knowing the truth? The truth pertains to me directly. It is need to know. I need to know. Okay? Truth pertains to me directly. So for example, let's say that there was a new law passed in Canada that said that your tax rate is going up by 5% starting the next fiscal year. Does that matter to you? I mean, it doesn't matter to the kids. It never matters to the kids. It does matter to the parents. It absolutely matters, right? If your tax rate is going up by 5%, that is knowledge that pertains to us directly. Or for example, let's say that you got a notification from your school before your last day of school, and it said, starting your next year in school, we are going to start classes on Saturday as well. Just like we do in India, we want to be like India, so we're going to start classes Monday through Saturday. Does that knowledge of the truth pertain to you? It absolutely does, doesn't it? So there is knowledge of truth that pertains directly to us. But there's also knowledge of truth that does not, that pertains to us indirectly. So for example, the war in Ukraine. Now, if you're from a country that gives financial aid to Ukraine for the war, it pertains to you directly. But if you're not a country that gives financial aid to Ukraine, it doesn't pertain to you directly. It pertains to you indirectly, because yes, we feel sad for the people that are going through this and suffering through this tragedy. So it pertains to us indirectly. There's a third kind of knowledge. So the first one is need to know, this one is nice to know, and the third one, it does not pertain to us directly. This is nuts to know, the nuts to know category. There is a lot of truth that is there that does not pertain to us. So let's say as the folks were driving their cars yesterday from Toronto to Bancroft, you came across a small bridge, okay? And just before the small bridge, there is a sign that says, if your vehicle is over 1.5 tons, don't go across the bridge. And you're driving across. Does that truth matter to you? It does not, because no matter how much of schnitzel and poutine we had, we're never going to get to more than 1.5 tons. So that truth does not matter to us, right? Or if you found out that the tax code in China has gone up by 5%, does it matter? No, it doesn't. So it's truth that does not pertain to us. Now, if truth pertains directly to me, I am responsible for it. Right? If truth pertains directly to me, I'm responsible for it. Now, what I'm going to say next is very important. The things of God pertain directly to us. It is need to know. And the reason why it pertains directly to us is because it affects our destiny. For every human being, the things of God is not a nuts to know or nice to know, but it is a need to know kind of truth. And if we know that truth, we have the responsibility of acting upon it. So let's read a verse, Luke chapter 12, verse 47 following. The servant who knows the master's will and does not get ready or does not do what the master wants will be beaten with many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with few blows. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded, and from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. The more truth we know, the more we are liable to act upon that information. Let's come back to the original setting that we started off with, and then we will wind this sermon down. Turn your Bibles to John chapter 19, verse 6. When the chief priests and the officers saw him, they cried out, "Crucify him, crucify him." Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and crucify him, for I find no guilt in him." Jesus answered him, "We have a law, and according to that law he ought to die, because he has made himself the Son of God." When Pilate heard this statement, he was even more afraid. He entered his headquarters again and said to Jesus, "Where are you from?" But Jesus gave no answer. So Pilate said to him, "You will not speak to me? Do you not know that I have authority to release you and authority to crucify you?" Jesus answered him, "You would not have authority over me at all unless it has been given to you from above. Therefore he who delivered me over to you has the greater sin." He who delivered me over to you has the greater sin. What is Jesus saying? That the Jews who gave Jesus over has a greater sin because they had more knowledge about the upcoming Messiah. They knew for thousands of years that there was a Messiah that was coming. And so, because they had that extra knowledge, they were more guilty than Pilate, who didn't have that extra knowledge.